is, but we love him.
I love him so
on
much.
that, like when he was in front of the fire, preserving his own peace in front of the fire the other day. I almost couldn't take it.
I know, and he was like sitting on the poof, like lounging on the poof, and okay, that's it. Gary, get out of here, Gary. We're having a moment. Go. Oh my gosh, he's such a pig. He's such a stubborn
He's like,
pig.
pick me up. Be mad at him. Like, you can't be mad at him. He's so cute. Oh, this is off the rails.
All right, we're back. We're back.
This is Supercharged by AI. This is a podcast by AI Portland. I am Megan Notarte, co-founder of AI Portland, and this is
Nicole Moores, co-founder of AI Portland, product design leader extraordinaire.
That's right.
I have no idea why I said that. Can we delete that?
Do you want to do that whole part again? We don't have to do that whole part again. You are a product design leader extraordinaire. I love it. I am really energized to talk today. I wasn't this morning, but now I'm feeling like let's go. Let's delve in. Let's dive in, as ChatGPT would say.
Yeah, it's so funny how conversations can just kind of inspire you. Like you didn't feel, it felt kind of like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? And then you have one good conversation with someone and you're like, oh, I know what we're doing.
Yeah, we had a good conversation. It's more soon on that, but very exciting things happening in AI Portland land. I mean, we could start there. Like, there's so many cool things happening for our AI Portland community. Some things we haven't even announced yet.
Right.
Because it's happening and we're trying to get all of our ducks in a row. But there's going to be some cool stuff happening in June that we haven't announced yet.
I think we can say what it is.
Can we? Are we ready?
I think so. I mean, we just talked about it to someone and it was coherent.
Okay. What is it?
So we're going to have a extended event.
That's right.
For folks, our regular AI Portland audience, but also everyone else, you know, folks at small to mid-sized businesses, to come together to learn the fundamentals of AI literacy, and also a step forward into sort of AI for teams, agents, more advanced stuff. So, an hour event, not enough. This will be hours.
This is a half day, you might say. Yeah.
A half day. And there's going to be a lot of collaboration. We have some AI experts we're partnering with. We also are partnering with some amazing companies and organizations here in town, like Willamette University.
It's going to be very cool. So keep your eyes, your ears open, because tickets are going to go on sale. It's going to happen. Might even happen this week.
Just don't call it a conference.
Don't call it a conference, because one of us might have a panic attack.
It is not a conference.
Which one? I will leave this to our viewers / listeners. Which one of us will have a panic attack if you call it a conference?
It's not a conference. It'll have conference-esque
like attributes,
components to it, but it is definitely not a conference.
No. I think that any person who has met us for more than 5 minutes will know which one of us, but let's find out. I'm super stoked about that. I'm really stoked about our May events too. Like the Addie Olson's intro to machine learning and natural language processing, which will then lead into our Not a Hackathon. Apparently we have not conference, not a hackathon. We don't box us in. Don't tell us what our events are going to be.
We cannot be defined. So it's a series of events. 0 to 1 build challenge kicked off by Addie Olson on Thursday. That will give us sort of a foundation. Then it will lead into a weekend of building. So folks will come together. They will form groups based off of ideas, build out your ideas, and then we will demo at the end of Saturday, but like afternoon. We're not trying to take up your Saturday night. That's what's lovely about this neat little build challenge, you know? It's not your whole weekend. Just come together and have an idea, build it.
What are you doing that Saturday that made that particular thing so important to you?
I really wanted to go to the UFO festival. There's a dance party I would like to be a part of. I don't see how that's relevant to this conversation.
At the end of the build challenge, where we like give out prizes and award the winners, and you see Nicole just like jetting out of there with her like alien
antenna. Yeah.
That's where she's going.
That's not relevant to this conversation, but
disagree.
So folks, after building, we'll demo and we'll crown a winner, and it will be amazing. It's in partnership with Startup Week, and we're partnering with Upstart, and there'll be food provided, so you won't be hungry while you're building. It's just going to be a good time. We already have quite a bit of interest, so definitely sign up for that and then come and party with us.
Yeah, it's gonna be super fun. Looking forward to it. May is such a busy month. Like it's gonna be. I mean, it's not quite May, and I'm already like, whew, let's make it through that one. Where should we start with our like random thoughts of the day?
I thought you had a list. I thought you had a list.
I do have a list, but I feel like we talked a lot about that Substack article from Heather
Havrilesky, who's an author. She's been an author forever, like early 2000s. She has a Substack, and I subscribe to her newsletter. I just enjoy her writing. And she, as an author, obviously sort of grappling with AI and what it means for her work. And so she had a recent newsletter that she sent out that was really interesting. And it was all about how AI is so smart, but also really dumb. And she essentially just published this whole chat she had where she was asking for book ideas and sort of going back and forth, and it's in a very interesting way with AI, kind of illustrating how it is like eerily smart and able to interact with her, not just like interact, but she has a very distinctive way, self-deprecating, way of writing that it was able to emulate and throw it back to her, but it wasn't actually really saying anything. She's like, these AI tools are so smart, but so dumb. And isn't that kind of dangerous? Essentially was her message.
So after I read her whole thing, I like had feelings and I had a hard time placing what they were, because her article made me feel like I wish I was smarter, because she was getting at something, demonstrating it through this like back and forth with ChatGPT, and it made me feel a way, like it made me feel sad, and it made me feel like hollow and weird, but I
think because of the way she writes is so authentic and so vulnerable and so unique to her, and to see it parroted back at her, the person who's really known for this distinctive way of writing, is like kind of sad, you know?
Why is it sad? Why I couldn't figure out, like, why do I feel
it's not even actually feeling anything. It doesn't feel her feelings or have her life experience. Yeah, it's parroting it back in a very convincing way.
Yeah, but it still felt hollow, which is very interesting.
I guess that's what I walked away with, was like, wow, that is convincing, like very convincing, but also like completely void, you know?
Yeah.
She's having this back and forth, and like ChatGPT is doing what ChatGPT does, right? Which is like everything she says to it, it agrees with her, right? And she's like, can you stop saying AI? Because she's still like talking about AI to AI. She's like, from now on, when you're talking to me, can you say robot? And then they have this interesting exchange about how AI, the term AI is marketing, and that it can give folks like a false sense of trust because it seems sleek and new or whatever. And if we call it a robot, we actually would have more fear because of like all the sci-fi we've ingested. She's all like, AI masks the fact that this is just a robot I am interacting with, which I thought was interesting. And like you and I joke around a lot, and we call AI Portland like a robot club. And
we haven't in a while, our robot club.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want some actual robots. But it's interesting because we have talked before about like ascribing too much human language to AI, right? And that because we anthropomorphize so easily, like use of that language just takes us even further to like ascribing humanity to these robots. And so I felt like she was sort of drawing that same line.
Yeah, with that particular like AI versus robot sort of situation. I think what she was really trying to point out is that by calling all these things AI, we're like fooling ourselves. You know what I mean?
Because I don't find the word AI to be human-like, though. You know, it's like it literally is artificial, fake intelligence.
But
you
like,
know?
There's something about like, oh, it's technology.
It's like fancy.
It's like, ooh.
Yeah.
But if you call it a fucking robot, you know what I mean?
A
robot could take over the world. You know what I mean? And like articles this week. Pretty much saying robots could take over, robots will take over. There's a very good possibility that AI can take over. Agents take over. Sure, it's just like a task, but like agents take over. They're take charge. They do things on your behalf.
Yeah.
If you say AI is autonomous or robots are autonomous, you have a very different visceral reaction.
Interesting. Words matter.
Words do matter.
It made me think too about the like how sycophantic ChatGPT can be. Like every idea, I mean, you mentioned this earlier, but every idea is like, way to go. And you know, like, you're so smart and that's a great insight. Have you considered whatever?
It like reminds, not my mom, not my personal mom. Hi mom, if you're listening. You're not, but that's fine. Your mom loves everything you do. And so it's like, you go to your mom when you're like moms.
My mom does love everything I do. Hi, mom.
She is listening. So jealous. I was talking about the royal mother.
Of course. Queen Elizabeth. I totally ruined your entire...
Where was I? Where was I?
Your mom loves everything you do. That's what you were saying.
Moms typically love everything you do. It's like ChatGPT is just like, you're amazing, you're great. You know what I mean? But like, you shouldn't trust that. You know, you're like, of course, your mom, she gave birth to you. She's gonna think you're wonderful. But like, you can't. Like, not everything you do is wonderful. You know what I mean? And like, if we're just in these echo chambers where AI, I'm going to like put it in as, that's great. That's awesome. You're never challenged to do any better. You know what I mean?
Yes.
In that article, she talks about an editor, a good editor, what makes that different. And, you know, an editor has a critical eye. An editor is going to like actually call out the things you're doing wrong. And so you get better. She has this thing where she writes, you know, the more we let them do our jobs, the dumber and sadder we will get, you know, because we're not going to be challenged by these things. They're just going to be like, you're great. You're amazing. A+, you know?
I mean, I feel like that can be tuned too, right? You could tell the GPT, I never want I want you to be ruthless.
The
I saw
underlying thing will
100%
always be
Yes.
positive, though. It
Yeah,
cannot. I mean, and maybe
this
this
is my
will
question.
change over time. Maybe this will change over time and not be an issue. But as it stands right now, it will never.
Well, and okay, so two things. It does change with every model, like release, because like I feel like I heard something about the latest ChatGPT model being more sycophantic, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. So you're right, it is a thing that tunes. It made me think about last week there was this thing going around about because ChatGPT now has an extended memory, you could ask it, point out my top 5 blind spots, things about me that I am not seeing. And so, first of all, it was sycophantic. I did this, right? It was like, oh, what a spicy request. Is that spicy? Anyway. And then it gave me this, like, these are the things that maybe you are not, they're not flaws, but things that maybe if you thought about, you could like level up your life, right? And when I first read them, I was like, yo, these are profound. Like, these resonate a lot. And then I saw like other, I'm part of the bureau, and so other agency owners in the AI channel were sharing what their responses were, and everybody was like, "Whoa, it's like a therapist in my pocket or something." But the more I thought about it, and the more it sat with me, it felt a little like the day you read a horoscope and it hits, right? Where you're like, "Ooh, magic." It knew exactly what I needed to hear that day. And like, while it was true, I kind of wondered, so while the stuff resonated with me, I should say, I kind of wondered if anyone actually got feedback that was like real tough love, right? Not just like you overfunction, right? Well, I do overfunction, right?
Yeah.
And I heard other women getting that same thing. We do overfunction. That is not actually that uncommon.
Yeah.
But I kind of wonder, did anyone get feedback that was like, you're kind of a jerk?
Yeah. Or you're not that smart. You know what I mean? But you're right with the horoscopes. You know what I mean? Like you can find the pathway to make it true. You know, for yourself. You're like, yeah, I am a deep thinker. You know what I mean? So much there.
You gave evidence. It was like, as demonstrated by XYZ, but at the same time, the stuff was designed to still make me feel good.
It's also when you're like, oh, it said that's a spicy question. That's almost like a master class in like professional communication, right? Where you're like, interesting thought, but in your mind you're like, oh my god, why is this person asking me this?
Do you think ChatGPT,
have you considered?
By the time I got to making that prompt, ChatGPT was like, oh my god, with these people asking about my extended memory, I'm over it.
Yeah, totally. That being said, like, knowing that these feel that maybe these are formulaic, you know what I mean? And maybe it's always going to err to the positive. And it's using anecdotal evidence. It's just whatever you put in there. It's not actually true because it couldn't possibly, because it's not with you and it doesn't know. It has actually no experience with you whatsoever.
Yeah.
It only has what it put in there. All that aside, I was like, I need to be using ChatGPT more so that it has more memory on me so that I like make better answers, you know?
It's like, it's so true, right? Because like you can get insights out of it that maybe like you don't get just in your own brain. It gets you out of your brain a little bit. So then you get sort of entrenched, like, I do want this tool to know more about me because it can be more useful. But then you're also like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with it knowing everything about me. And that is a thing we're grappling with. Like I saw a headline, Perplexity is creating a browser so it can know everything about you, so it can target ads and products, sell things to you, essentially, right? My initial reaction is, of course, well, that's gross. I'm not signing up for that browser, right? But then is it, this is a hot take, it's probably a bad take, so whatever. But like, I don't mind being sold things I need that are targeted towards me.
When it happens and it's right, you're like, magic, I absolutely need this thing. I
need that, right? Yeah. But in order for that to happen, it has to know more about me. So it's like, it's gross. I'm like, that's gross. But also it's, I don't know, we've talked to people who have sort of let that ship sail in terms of their own ChatGPT knowing so many things about them.
Mm-hmm.
They give it all of their medical information, and then it helps them identify, issues with the complex chronic conditions that they have.
Yeah.
So like, it's just a thing we're grappling with, and I don't know where I fall on like any given day.
It's complicated. And yeah, I vacillate between the two as well. Like, oh, I can see the benefits. Also, I'm a really boring person. I have nothing to hide. Like,
yeah.
I'm so basic. You know what I mean?
I think when I think about that, I think, man, if we
And then I'm
had
like, late stage capitalism, why am I always being sold to? You know?
yeah. It made me think about a thing we talked about last year a lot, which was if we had federal data privacy regulations.
It
And
all
if we
comes
had
back to regulation. It
and
all
if we
comes
had
back
any
to regulation.
trust, if we could trust any of these companies, it would be different. And I think, that is not a thing. We have neither regulation nor trust. And so it's an interesting moment in time.
It is. Agreed.
I also wanted to talk about that article about AI targeting or coming for the unmotivated.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
So Sinead Bovell wrote about this, and I think we all know I adore her. But that article talking about how AI will disproportionately reward people who bring significant motivation and critical thinking skills. And then, of course, the inverse is if you're a person who doesn't, like, it will replace the things that you do.
I mean,
basically.
This concept is just so incredibly obvious. You know what I mean? It's like, why didn't I like articulate that? Because it's like, duh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just the same, that's just the same concept as like handing two people a pencil. You know what I mean? And someone's going to do something very different with a pencil than another person,
Yeah, like a tool. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. But, we talk about the importance of doing our jobs as humans in the loop, right? And oftentimes we talk about that in terms of like validating and controlling output, maintaining our own voice and style and like, making sure accuracy and things like that. But it's not enough just to be the human in the loop. Like you have to be the really critically thinking, good human in the loop. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's more than that.
It is more than that. Someone who is a critical thinker or a creative person is going to come up with novel and creative ways of using these tools, and other folks just are not,
Yeah.
That's kind of the human condition.
That's true. That's true.
But like everything we say, when you AI puts a finer point on it, it also brings everything, like it ramps everything up at this huge scale. So whereas, a very motivated person would be accomplishing a lot baseline, now with AI, they're going to accomplish,
even more,
1,000,000x, which is going to widen the delta between those who can and those who cannot,
That's exactly, that was the thesis. Good work.
Yay!
That was what I was trying to get at the whole time.
Gold star.
Gold star to you. Yeah, I guess I hadn't thought about it. I always think about, we think a lot about what the skills that will maybe be replaced, but not so much as like, if you are a person who is like super critically thinking and you're like a high achiever and motivated, like you can really get a lot out of this. And like those people are empowered in a way. And like, if you want to get on the train, like you have to maybe start trying to make sure that is your strength, right? Curiosity, critical thinking, exploration, like all of those things is what's going to keep you in the game.
Some people are curious, but some people are not, Megan. Some people aren't. Some people just aren't curious. They never ask why. They're just like, give me the exact thing to do and I'll just do it. And then I'll clock out at the end of the day and go watch Netflix.
But there's value in that. Like,
there is. I'm not saying that's necessarily wrong. I'm just saying, like
not
I said,
everyone
this
is that way. And what
the human condition, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Is the world supposed to be equitable, you know, for folks who just want to like give me the task to do. I'm going to do the task and that's all I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just as equitable for that person than the overachiever that's like, I'm going to do everything and then I'm going to use AI to like 10x everything I do. Is it equitable for everyone? You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do we account for the delta?
Yeah. Right. It's an interesting way of thinking about the kind of how disproportionate the benefits of AI are and will be, right? Because maybe the benefits for folks who, you know, are not as interested in pushing the envelope, they're not there. And then what?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Lots to think about.
Yeah, I feel like you go down some rabbit holes with meritocracy.
Meritocracy.
Yeah. Like it can get, we could get into some weird spaces with this conversation.
This week, I feel over the last week or so, like there's just been so much of that, like broad, like deep thinking stuff coming out, where I definitely have had days where I was like, oh, this is like, I don't know, heavy and scary and, you know, like what's happening?
Yeah.
Stop this train, you know?
I mean, just to bring it full circle back to the Heather Haverleski article, it's just, they're so smart, right? And like the potential of changing everything. And then also so incredibly dumb with like so much hype, you know what I mean? And like if you're standing in the middle, you're just like, which way is it gonna go? You know? Both things are true.
Yes, both things are true. And yet here we stand in the middle, like, what are we doing? Who's in charge of this? Oh shit, no one.
No one's in charge. No one's in charge.
I would like to speak to the manager.
There's no manager. Sit down, Karen. There's no manager. Do you want to talk about our happy hour? We did not do a FOMO email. We did not do a podcast, but we did have a happy hour. Was that last week?
Yes.
Pretty sure it was last week.
Pretty sure it was.
So, I think what I want to point out is like sort of the reason why we have happy hours or these social events and what they're for. So we have at least one event a month that's usually centered around a topic or a speaker or a person or a panel, or like it's some sort of content that Megan and I curate. We spend a great amount of time and effort putting those things together and making sure like, wow, they're amazing.
High quality.
Yeah. We find that people, like, one of the big benefits of our events are connecting people, and like so much so that people linger, they go to like an after party bar, and like it's just the connections that make. So with our social events like happy hours and coffees, the intent is to give people just a venue to do that. Come together, talk. Our group is really for everyone, right? We have technical people, we have startup people, we have creatives like me, we have agency people like Megan. It's really for everyone to connect because AI is everywhere and going to affect everything. So that is the point of our happy hour we had last week. It was 150 people showed up to this happy hour.
What? Amazing. Yeah. I mean, between you and me and our podcast people, we didn't realize Migration was going to shut it down that night.
They had to.
Us.
They shut down. They will shut down for just a group if it's 80 people, let alone 150.
Yeah. And we didn't know. We walked in. We were like, "Oh my gosh, what if nobody shows up?"
Yeah, we did have that moment, but we had like 200 and what was it at? 220 RSVPs. That's a really good turnout rate.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So, yeah, just like the energy was there. People showed up, all sorts of different people across the spectrum who are interested in AI, passionate about AI. Maybe they're building something with AI and wanted to talk to people about it. It was a great turnout, great crowd.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, AI as a domain has many different types of folks that show up. So
and our group is literally for everyone. It's for people pro AI. It's for the skeptics that maybe want to kick the tires and hear a different point of view. It's for the charlatans that are just like throwing AI on everything, and you know what I mean? It legit is for everyone.
Yes, and everyone came out, and it was super fun. We had a sponsor, Core Defender AI. They had a screen set up, so they showed some of their custom chat tools, which was really cool. I did not get to see the wine one that you saw, but I saw their STEM like kid tutor chat bot, and it was beautiful for what it's worth. Like the design was really
well
nice
designed.
and clean. Yeah,
agreed.
But also just like really cool to see folks integrating this technology in ways that can be really helpful and interesting.
Yeah. Having a sponsor was awesome. A little show and tell. They brought an army of people to talk about it too, which was interesting.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do more happy hours. We may even do games. Like I'm scheming on that. I don't know if Megan's like
didn't know anything about this.
The gameplays, like games like pickleball, like
oh right. I was like, board games? Are we okay?
No, it's not board games.
No, I know what you're talking about. There's
there's I don't want to say anything too much. Like these more social events where we get to connect as people, not robots, are
that's right.
are in the future.
We
so
are
stay tuned.
Yeah.
We are humans.
Lots going on. Thank you again for listening to this episode of Supercharged by AI. Subscribe to get all the latest episodes and check us out at aipdx.info for more information.
We didn't have anything to say. We had nothing inside us, and yet we filled 32 minutes of what I feel is, quality conversation, Megan.